A family is vacationing on their yacht in the Caribbean Sea. The mother, Julia, jumps into the water to swim. While relaxing, she feels something strange, but since nothing is visible nearby, she dismisses it as her imagination. A few seconds later, the strange feeling returns. Again, nothing is visible, but now she panics and starts swimming toward the yacht. Suddenly, something starts pulling her leg, and she for help. Her daughter, Casey, is listening to music with headphones and doesn't hear anything. Her husband, Tom, and son, Ben, are busy fishing. Julia tries to stay above the water, but with water getting into her mouth, it becomes difficult to scream. A little later, Tom realizes he hasn't seen Julia for a while. He searches for her on the yacht and then sees his wife in danger. He calls the children, steers the yacht toward her, and jumps into the water. He quickly reaches Julia, secures her, and swims toward the yacht. The children pull both of them up. The family tends to Julia, but Julia tries to rationalize that it must have been the waves. At night, everyone celebrates Ben's birthday. Casey gets a call from her boyfriend, so she takes her laptop outside. In the video call, her boyfriend shows her that large black clouds have covered the city. The call glitches and freezes. Casey comes to tell the family, but Tom that the signal is weak because they are far from land. Just then, they all hear a noise. They go outside and see a pod of whales passing by. Tom explains that whales always follow the Earth's magnetic field, but they get confused when a storm approaches. Suddenly, the yacht shakes violently, and Ben falls. Tom worries that the yacht might be damaged, so he dives down to check. A little later, he returns to the surface, but he has a large wound on his shoulder. Julia immediately stitches his wound. Tom explains that underwater he felt as if there was a very large creature behind him, but when he turned to look, he was cut by the propeller. He says that whatever it was very large. Tom notices significant damage to the yacht, so they need to call for help. Julia repeatedly tries the radio. Casey tries to find a signal on her phone, but nothing works. Then, Casey sees a strange creature and screams, but it's just Ben playing a prank with a mask on. Soon after, the yacht completely shuts down and is stranded in the middle of the ocean. Julia hears a voice on the radio, but the signal is so poor that she can't understand anything. Tom tells the family that they have only 4 days of food and water left and must now wait for a fishing boat. Suddenly, something is detected on the radar, and the family hears a strange sound. Everyone rushes outside and is shocked to see meteors falling to the ground. Wherever the meteors fall, there are large explosions. A meteor falls into the water near them, and Tom immediately tries to start the yacht. The engine barely starts, but then another meteor hits the area. The family hugs each other tightly in fear. Then Tom realizes that the fireballs falling are not meteors, but satellites. At the same moment, Ben sees smoke coming from the yacht. Tom checks and confirms that the engine is ruined. The wind picks up, so the family hides inside the yacht, not noticing that the compass is spinning rapidly. The yacht begins to shake violently. Ben falls again, and this time he is injured. Waves are crashing against the yacht fiercely. Tom struggles to go outside and brings back life jackets. Then the power goes out. Tom immediately presses the power box button, and the light comes back on. At that moment, Ben notices that Julia's nose is bleeding. Julia starts to feel dizzy, while Casey goes to the sink and vomits. Tom keeps trying the radio but can't get a signal. Suddenly, a loud, high-pitched noise is heard, and the wind gets even stronger. Julia tries to close the doors, but a hatch opens, and the wind starts breaking the windows. Tom lights a flare, and a little later, darkness falls. The next morning, the family wakes up in shock that they survived the storm, but the yacht is half destroyed. When they go outside, they see that the ocean water has disappeared, and the yacht is now stuck on land. Everyone is shocked by this sight. Casey checks for a signal, but the network is completely down. Ben starts playing with 2 dead crabs. Tom checks the compass and sees that it has reversed. This last happened 700,000 years ago. Casey fears that her boyfriend must have died and is heartbroken. When Julia comes to comfort her, Casey pushes her away and goes to hide. Julia and Tom check the remaining supplies. Ben ties his birthday balloons to a rock, hoping that a survivor might see them. Tom tries the radio again, and this time, he connects with a man. His name is Now, and he is a submarine captain. His submarine is also stuck on land. He confirms that the magnetic poles have reversed, which is why the ocean has receded and the land has sunk. He says he hasn't seen any other survivors yet and that communication systems are completely down. He further adds that the poles will reverse again and the sea might return in about a week. He warns the family to climb to the highest possible ground because when the water comes back, it will be very dangerous. He says his partner died in the crash, and the submarine has room for only 3 people. Julia and Tom plead with him to save their children. He gives them his coordinates. Tom calculates that it will take 2 to 3 days to reach the submarine. He tells the family to rest well tonight, and they will leave tomorrow morning. The next morning, the family is packing their belongings when Tom sees something moving nearby. It is a lame man with a harpoon in his hand, and a dog is barking continuously next to him. Tom goes to him and offers him a bottle of water, but the man speaks a language Tom cannot understand. After drinking the water, the stranger suddenly hits Tom on the head with the bottle and delivers a hard kick to his face. Julia runs away in fear, but it's too late. The man has already plunged the harpoon into Tom's stomach. Tom struggles for a few moments, and then the man also cuts his throat. Then the man runs after Julia and throws the harpoon at her, injuring her shoulder. Julia endures the pain and runs inside the yacht, telling the children to hide. She locks the door. Casey and Ben crawl inside the sofa. Julia hands them a flare gun and hides in the bathroom with a knife. The man vigorously shoves the door and finally breaks in. First, he grabs some food and then starts searching around the yacht. He then heads toward the bathroom, but Julia cleverly slips out through a small hole. The man thinks Julia has escaped, but as she slowly starts to move away, his dog spots her and begins to bark. The dog lunges at her, and Julia kills it with the knife. Hearing the dog's yelp, the man comes outside and is furious to see his dog's corpse. Meanwhile, Julia tries to get inside from the other side of the yacht. She climbs up and starts entering through a broken window, but the man reaches there first. He grabs her and punches her hard, causing her to fall. Julia tries to grab onto the furniture to escape, but the man kicks her away. He then puts his foot on her wrist to make her drop the knife, grabs her hair, slams her face onto the ground, throws her onto the sofa, and starts choking her. The children are watching all this. Casey comes out and fires the flare gun, hitting the man directly. He catches fire, and the fire spreads inside the yacht. The children immediately run out, but Julia comes back. She kicks him down, grabs the map and the bag, and flees. Ben and Casey go to their father and start crying. Julia also sits with them, and all 3 bid a tearful final goodbye to Tom. Just then, the scary man comes out of the yacht again, so the family starts running once more. Soon after, the yacht explodes with a loud bang. After walking for a while, they stop near a small waterfall to rest. Casey thinks that the crazy man might have been drawn to them by the balloons. Hearing this, Ben starts to blame himself. Julia reassures him that it wasn't his fault and tells everyone to keep moving because the man is still chasing them. Along the way, near a small pond, Ben is surprised to see a dead hammerhead shark. Just then, Julia notices that the man is getting close to them again. They all start running and fall down a sand dune where they see toxic waste. The family carefully crosses it and feels like they have shaken off the man. As they walk, they start seeing large dead sea animals and all the plastic accumulated under the sea. Ben starts walking slowly, and Julia realizes he is close to dehydration. She tells everyone to stop. When she checks the water bottle, she is shocked. The water is almost finished. Casey realizes that she might not have closed the bottle properly. Julia angrily shouts that the water is gone because of her carelessness. Casey replies, "What's the difference? We're not going to survive anyway." A long argument ensues between them, but the family keeps walking. A little later, they find a crashed plane. Seeing something moving inside, everyone gets scared, but it's just some birds. The family decides to spend the night inside the plane. They share a small snack, and Julia finds a family photo in Tom's jacket, which breaks her heart. Casey asks, "Mom, what was your and Dad's love story?" Julia smiles and says, "Tom was my patient in the hospital." Then one day he expressed his love with flowers and a beautiful poem. In the middle of the night, Casey goes outside the plane, and the scary man tries to grab her from behind, but Julia suddenly pounces on him from behind and kills him by stabbing him repeatedly with the knife. Casey hugs her mother to calm her down. The next morning, worms are crawling on the man's corpse. The family notices several bite marks on his body, meaning a dangerous creature is hidden in this area. As they leave, crabs crawl out of his mouth. A few hours later, Julia and Casey are looking at the map, but Ben quietly moves ahead. Julia yells, "Stop!" But Ben bends down near a pond and starts drinking water. Julia immediately pulls him out and explains that unknown water can make him sick. The sun becomes very intense, so the family covers their heads with clothes. Ben starts to feel dizzy, and then they find some old chairs, and Julia and Casey make a temporary shelter from them. Julia gives Ben an injection and decides they will spend the night there. In the morning, Julia wakes up hearing a strange noise. She goes outside and sees a large swarm of crabs coming towards them. She immediately wakes the children, and all three start running. As they run, they spot a large cargo ship. 3 crew members are alive there. One woman wants to help them, but the other 2 men refuse, and all 3 lock the container, leaving the family outside. The crabs approach. Julia helps the children climb onto the container. As she starts to climb, the crabs bite her leg hard. The children pull her up, preventing her from falling. Half the crabs get inside through a hole in the container. As she starts to climb, the crabs bite her leg hard. The children pull her up, preventing her from falling. Half the crabs get inside through a hole in the container. The crew members start firing, but the crabs overwhelm them and kill both men. The last man reaches the hole in the roof, but the crabs pull him down too, and he also dies. Julia bandages her wound and faints. A little later, when she wakes up, she finds herself alone in the middle of a sandstorm. She frantically starts looking for the children. She picks up a dead woman's weapon and shouts loudly. Casey returns after hearing her voice and says that she and Ben went to find help, but couldn't find anyone. Then they meet Ben, who found an open container where they can stay until the storm is over. Julia takes out Tom's lighter and cauterizes her wound, which is extremely painful. After the storm subsides, they find another container with many water bottles. While checking the bodies, they also find a radio and a gun. Julia contacts the boat and says the map is lost, now informs them that they were attacked by arthropods. They are now creatures that have gone completely mad due to oxygen. Now tells the family to hurry because his instruments calculate that the sea will return sooner than expected, and they have only a few hours left. He shoots a flare, and the family starts walking in that direction. After a long walk, the family finds a broken toilet where Ben urinates. Now they finally spot the submarine nearby. But to get there, they have to cross a large rocky path. As they pass through the path, the walls begin to shake and stones start falling, causing a massive rock slide. Julia immediately pushes her children to the side and backs away herself to avoid being crushed. Now a stone wall stands between them. Julia tells the children to go ahead without her, but Casey refuses and insists that her mother should try to climb. After much arguing and shouting, Julia promises that she will find her children later. Forced, Casey pulls her brother and moves ahead. The children climb the rocky path and run toward the submarine, but upon reaching it, they see Now lying outside, covered in blood. He explains that it's over for him and that the children can now take the submarine. Thinking there might be an extra spot, Casey runs back to find her mother. Just then, Julia sees the crabs coming and starts firing. She kills some crabs, but the swarm is too large, and it becomes difficult to fight them all. At the same moment, Casey appears on top of the wall and extends her hand. So, Julia, despite her injured leg, starts climbing quickly. With Casey's help, she reaches the other side, and both run together toward the submarine. Ben is already standing above and opens fire to keep the crabs disturbed until the family climbs up. The crabs reach Now's body and immediately start eating him. Julia grabs the gun and continues firing until the children are safely inside. When they are safe, Julia realizes the bullets are finished, so she throws the gun at the crabs and goes inside with her children. The family securely locks the hatch and watches the crabs surrounding the submarine from the window. Just then, the sea returns, so all 3 immediately sit in their seats, put on their belts, and hold hands. The strong waves start tossing the submarine violently, causing Julia to have visions of the entire journey, and Casey vomits. Soon, the high-pitched noise returns, and the family passes out. A little later, Julia and the children regain consciousness and are happy to find themselves alive. They unlock the hatch and step outside, seeing that the waves have deposited the submarine in a destroyed city. This means there is now hope of survival and starting a new life, and the film ends here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to keep getting such interesting videos. Thank you for watching.